Water. Lesson preview. Scarcity of water. Importance of water in sustaining life. Uses of water. Sources of water. Water cycle. Formation of clouds. Drought. Floods. Conservation of water. The most important natural resource is the most abundant substance on Earth. Water present on Earth in oceans and seas makes almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface. This water cannot be used by us because of its high salt content. About 2% of the water is in the form of glaciers and polar ice caps. Water is present in ponds, rivers, lakes, under the ground, and in the air as water vapor. We need water for our everyday activities. Have you ever thought how much water we use daily? Let us find out. Activity. List down the various activities carried out which require water. With the help of your mother, find out how many liters of water are used daily by the family to carry out the various activities. You can have a rough idea about the amount of water you use for your personal activities. Fill in the table and find out the total amount of water used by your family. You will now be able to calculate the amount of water required by your family in a month and in a year. Scarcity of water. It would seem that water is available on Earth in plenty. However, we still face water shortages at many places. There are many reasons for this strange phenomenon. About 97.4% of the total available water is found in seas and oceans. This water cannot be directly used by us due to its high salt content. A lot of fresh water is frozen in glaciers and in polar ice caps. Hence, only 0.01% of the water on the Earth is available to us for our consumption. Water is quite unevenly spread on Earth. Floods may recur at some places while some other regions experience complete lack of rains for years. Groundwater, an important water source for us, has been so much overexploited by humans that the natural recharge processes have been disrupted. This has resulted in sharp decline in groundwater levels of most urban areas, and acute shortage of groundwater in highly populated areas. Pollution of water sources, rivers, ponds, lakes, groundwater, has rendered water quality as poor, and impure water is found in large areas of most countries. Importance of water in sustaining life. Life cannot exist without water. One may survive without food for some weeks, but without water none would live for more than a few days. The bodies of all plants and animals have large amount of water. Water is needed for several life processes in humans and animals. Digestion of food, absorption of nutrients, removal of waste materials from the body, distribution of nutrients to various parts of body. All these processes take place with the help of water. Human body contains about 70% water by weight. We take in water through food and drink, and lose it in the form of sweat, urine, and exhaled air, vapors. Water also helps to control our body temperature. In hot weather, we drink a lot of water. This keeps our body temperature within tolerable limits. Water evaporates from our body in the form of sweat, which takes away a lot of heat, thus cooling our body. In plants, water is necessary for germination of seeds and also for growth. Transportation of nutrients from the soil needs the presence of water. Plants make their food using water and carbon dioxide in presence of sunlight. Uses of water. We cannot live without water. Besides being essential for life, the various uses of water are as follows. Water is used for the cultivation and irrigation of plants. It is stored in dams to generate hydroelectricity. It is used in industries. It is used as a medium of transport. It is used as a reservoir for seafood, minerals and salts. It is used as a habitat for marine animals and plants. It is used for extinguishing fires. Sources of water. As we have seen earlier that a very little percentage of water, 0.01%, on Earth is available for human consumption. We get water from wells, tube wells, rivers, and ponds. People in cities get water from taps. How does water reach the taps? Water in the taps is drawn from a lake or a river through a network of pipes. Though we may be using water in our homes in different ways, the sources of water are the same, such as rivers, ponds, lakes, and wells. Rainwater. Rain is the main source of fresh water. Water vapor in the air condenses and comes down to the ground as rain. Hence, rainwater is free from germs and soluble solid impurities. However, it contains dust particles and some dissolved gases present in the air, such as carbon dioxide. At places with high levels of air pollution, rainwater may also contain harmful acids. Groundwater. When it rains, some of the rainwater immediately evaporates back into the atmosphere. Some runs off the surface forming streams and rivers, and some passes through the soil into the non-porous rocks beneath. This is underground water or groundwater. The level of groundwater is called the water table. This groundwater may flow along the surface of non-porous rocks and emerge out of the ground at some places to form a natural spring. As groundwater passes through the soil, it gets filtered by several layers of rock and sand. It is hence almost free of suspended impurities. However, it may contain dissolved salts from the soil and also germs. Wells and tube wells are dug to obtain groundwater. Deep groundwater is normally safe for drinking. Surface water. Rainwater that runs off the surface of the earth to form streams, lakes, and rivers is called surface water. Rivers and lakes also get water from melting snow and glaciers in the mountains. Surface water contains dissolved salts and suspended impurities. It may also contain germs. Sewage from cities and harmful chemicals from factories are also discharged into rivers. This pollutes river water and makes it unfit for drinking. Most of the water supplied to our homes in towns and cities comes from rivers. It has to be cleaned and treated to make it fit for drinking, cooking, and bathing. Sea water. All rivers ultimately flow into the sea. They add dissolved salts to the sea. Thus, sea water contains large amounts of dissolved salts. This makes sea water unfit for drinking, industrial use, and agriculture. Though we do not use ocean water directly as it is saline, yet it plays an important role in supplying water that we use. You must be wondering how it is possible. We are staying so far away from oceans. How is it that ocean water which is salty reaches the rivers, ponds, lakes, etc., and the water of rivers, ponds, and lakes which supply water to us is not saline? Let us find out how this happens. Water cycle. Evaporation of water. We have all seen that wet clothes dry in the sun after some time. Similarly, if water spills on ground, it dries up after some time. You must have seen puddles of water after the rains, but when it becomes sunny, these puddles disappear as the water dries up. Where does this water go? This is because when water is heated, it changes into water vapor, a gaseous form. The process is known as evaporation. Activity. Take 2 steel bowls. Pour equal quantity of water in both the bowls. Keep one bowl in the sun and other in the shade. Observe the 2 bowls after every hour. Does the water seem to disappear in the bowls? In which bowl does it disappear first? Where does the heat for this evaporation come from? The water in the bowl which was kept in the sun dries up faster than the one kept in shade. The water in the bowl kept in the shade also disappears after some time. Why does it happen? Does the heat of the sunlight also reach it? Evaporation takes place at all places. This is because during daytime, the air around us gets heated. This warm air provides heat for the water to evaporate in the shade. Evaporation takes place continuously all the time. Activity. Take 2 bowls. Pour equal quantity of water in them. Keep one bowl under the fan and the other bowl where there is no wind. Observe the 2 bowls after every half an hour. From which bowl does water evaporate faster? You will notice that the water evaporates faster from the bowl kept under the fan than from the other bowl. This shows that evaporation also depends upon the speed of wind. This is why clothes dry faster on a windy day. Evaporation also depends upon humidity and surface area. Surface water or water from the oceans, rivers, lakes, and ponds gets heated up during the day because of the heat of the sun. Water from all these places, and also from the fields and land evaporates and changes into water vapor. However, this process is extremely slow. Loss of water by plants. Plants also give out large amounts of water from their leaves during transpiration. This water also goes into the air. Plants use only a small amount of water taken up from the soil for preparing food, and the rest is released as water vapor. Activity. Fill a glass with water. Add a few ice cubes to it. Keep it on a table, and observe after a few minutes. What do you notice? You will notice tiny water drops on the outer surface of the glass. These water drops are called droplets. This happens because when the hot air comes in contact with the cold surface of the glass, it cools down. The water vapor present in air condenses to form water. Thus, condensation is the process in which water vapor when cooled changes into water. Formation of clouds. Water enters into air through the processes of evaporation and transpiration. The water vapor being lighter than air rises up. As water vapor rises up, it begins to cool. When it cools down, it condenses to form water droplets. Condensation plays an important role in bringing water back to the surface of the earth. The tiny drops of water join together to form clouds. Some drops of water become heavy and fall on the earth as rain. This is called precipitation. If air is very cold, the water drops freeze and fall down as hail or snow. Rainwater is the purest form of natural water. Thus, we see that water converts into water vapor and goes into air by evaporation and transpiration. It condenses and forms clouds and then comes back to the ground as rain, hail or snow. The water which falls on the land forms streams which join to form rivers. Snow in the mountains melts and flows in the form of streams and rivers. Some of the rainwater seeps into the soil and gathers to form groundwater. Water from the rivers after covering long distances ultimately falls into the ocean. The groundwater which is pumped out for use eventually goes into rivers and then into the ocean. Groundwater is also the source of many lakes. We have now seen how water brought to the surface of Earth goes back to the ocean. The process by which water from the ocean and the surface of the Earth goes into air as water vapor, condenses to form clouds, returns as rain, hail, and snow, and finally flows back to the oceans is a continuous cycle. This cycle is known as the water cycle. 4 steps are involved in the water cycle: evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and flowing back to ocean. This is a continuous process. It plays an important role in determining global climate. In winters, you must have often heard that trains were late due to fog, especially in the morning. Fog is due to condensation of water vapor near the ground. This greatly reduces visibility. You must have noticed dew on leaves, grass, iron grills, and gates during the cold winter mornings. This is due to condensation of moisture directly on cold objects. Drought. The absence of rain in an area over a long period of time greatly affects the soil, plants, animals, and humans. The soil becomes dry as it continues to lose water through evaporation and transpiration. Rivers and ponds dry up. The level of water in the wells and groundwater decreases drastically. Some of the wells may dry up. The availability of water reduces and crops cannot grow properly. Such a condition is called drought. In conditions of drought, it is difficult to get food and fodder due to extreme shortage of water. Many states in our country are drought-prone, for example Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. People suffer greatly when there is drought. Both people and animals die due to shortage of food and water. The topsoil becomes dry, leading to soil erosion, which makes the soil less fertile. The farmers are the worst sufferers. Floods. The time, duration, and amount of rainfall vary from place to place. In India, monsoon is the most awaited season as it brings rains after the hot summer months. The farmers wait for rains to sow their crops. However, excessive rainfall is also harmful. When it rains excessively for several days, the level of water in the rivers rises and it flows into the nearby land. The crop fields, villages, forests, and towns get flooded with water. Such a condition is known as flood. Heavy floods cause damage to crops, houses, roads, animals, and humans. The crops get covered with water and cannot grow properly. This results in food shortage. The animals living in water are also carried away with the flood waters. They get trapped on land and die. Both people and animals die due to drowning, hunger, lack of drinking water, and waterborne diseases. Conservation of water. The demand for water is increasing day by day. This is due to the rapid increase in population. More and more water is being used for producing food and manufacturing products in industries. All these factors are leading to water shortage. The demand for water far exceeds its availability. You must have seen long queues for collection of water, especially in cities. Hence, it has become extremely important not to waste water and to use it wisely and carefully. We need to take urgent steps to conserve water. Some of the steps by which we can conserve water at home are: avoid wastage of water and use it judiciously. Recycle water wherever possible. Prevent leakage of water from the taps. Turn off the taps when not in use. Use a bucket and a mug instead of shower to have a bath. Prevent overflow of overhead water and storage tanks. Employ rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is a good method to conserve water. It means collection of rainwater for later use. We can use harvested water for various purposes including drinking, washing, watering plants, in toilets, etc. Rainwater harvesting can be done in two ways: surface runoff harvesting, rooftop rainwater harvesting. Surface runoff harvesting. In this system, rainwater is allowed to go into the ground directly from the drains that collect rainwater. Pits, trenches, dug wells, etc. are used to collect rainwater. Rooftop rainwater harvesting. In this system, rainwater falling on the roofs of buildings is collected through pipes into a storage tank. The collected water needs to be filtered before use as it contains soil and dust from the roof. It can also be allowed to flow into a deep pit in the ground for recharging or refilling the groundwater.